in order to belong, I felt sometimes like you can't be your true self in my family.
Yeah.
That you had to kind of shrink. And there's been other places in my life that I felt that.
Sure.
So in order to really belong, I want to be able to be myself and belong. Hi, you guys. Welcome. Hi. Good to see you.
Good to see
So
you.
I think we should have an interesting conversation. And I love the topic of culture.
Of course.
So let's talk about how our culture of authentic belonging
Yes.
is a huge benefit to our customers
Yeah.
and why that is so. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I want to ask you a question back first, that when you say authentic belonging, what does that mean?
It's funny how this came up. Do you
Yeah.
remember how this came up? It was in our values when we were in Phoenix. So we had a meeting with my kids. It was kind of our first like little businessy meeting,
Yeah.
kind of getting them lightly into this world. And our facilitator made us go through like 50 cards of values, and you had to narrow it down to like 25 and then 5, and then you could only pick one card that was
Right.
your main value.
Yeah.
And I had belonging. And my son was sitting next to me and he had authentic. And I'm like, I want these too.
She created a new word.
I took his card. I'm like, this is mine, authentic belonging. And what it means to me is it kind of goes back to family baggage, quite frankly, because in order to belong, I felt sometimes like you can't be your true self in my family.
Yeah.
That you had to kind of shrink. And there's been other places in my life that I've felt that.
Sure.
So in order to really belong, I want to be able to be myself and belong. So
Yes.
that's what it means to me.
Yes. And I think that's it's really important to have that clarity, because I know that we value every individual and respect that everyone has their places that they've come from, their, internal and external challenges, their
Right.
brilliance, and that kind of thing. And I think that ability to just show up as who you are, and sometimes it creates challenges, and we accept and deal with it from the perspective of, hey, this thing is true about this person.
Right.
So how do we work together with
As humans,
this person?
you know?
Right, as humans, in ways that works for everyone.
And think of the next generation of kids growing up right now impress the heck out of me.
Oh, me too.
They let their friends be whoever they are, and they accept totally. And I feel like in my generation growing up, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
You didn't hear about anyone that was bisexual or gay. They certainly were there, but they had to hide.
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's so accepted. I love that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of along those lines.
Yeah, I think for me too, one thing that when people ask me sometimes to explain the culture at Ed Long, in that aspect, I say, I don't have to put on a different hat on Monday morning to go to work.
Yeah.
So the person I am on the weekend, in the evenings, and during the day is truly my authentic self. And the first time in many, many years or lifetime of working, right? Because you kind of feel like you had to put on the uniform.
Right.
Yes.
And the work uniform was different than the life uniform.
Yeah.
And some people think that if you are vulnerable or show the good, the bad, and the ugly, that can be deflating to your career or to what you bring. And it's actually quite the contrary. And
It's power, not a weakness.
it's power.
It's absolute power.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that our customers recognize that when they're with us.
Yeah.
And so Lauren, I mean, you're really close to our customers.
They feel it.
Yes,
Do they
you
feel
feel it. I think it helps our team, their true selves, and they're comfortable and confident and passionate about our product and our, not just our product, but Edlong.
Yeah.
And it, you know, what's the word you used earlier?
Emits.
Emits off of them,
Yeah.
right? And then you feel that in front of the customer. You feel comfortable. So they're more comfortable sharing, being transparent with us. But not only that, but because I think generally we're more empathetic, our culture enables empathy, and we're more empathetic when we're with our customers. So we're thinking about the person, not necessarily the product that we're trying to push, you know, across the table, and we realize that we're working with people, not just customers, not just
Right.
accounts.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's really important because, you know, I think imagine being someone. So, one of the things that I think is a really important slight clarification is our product is really a solution. We have flavors, but rarely is one flavor the solution for our
Right.
customer.
It's holistically
That's
looking at a
right.
formula
That's
often,
right.
and you're balancing
And-
starches and
right,
fats.
and thinking about that. And I often think, imagine being that that developer, that food scientist walking through our doors because you have a challenge that is really difficult to fix and how intimidating that could be. And that's where that culture of belonging opens it up and is like, you're not alone, number one. Everyone is having these kinds of challenges because taste and flavor are very challenging things. But you're not alone and there's no judgment. And guess what? We get to get in here and get at the bench and really kind of experiment and work through this together. And it's a really interesting benefit because that person comes in and builds confidence in that and learns something about the market and about themselves, but they also get that solution faster.
Yes.
And I love that.
I
And
do
there's
too.
an element to that too, that because it's more of like a human-centric approach, we're ultimately building trust with our customers.
That's right.
Trust, and I forget the percentage of buyers, but typically there's a very high, I think 4 times more likely to buy from you again if they have high trust from you.
That's right. That's right.
Definitely.
I think one thing, Lauren, to talk about a little bit is how our culture of belonging affects our sales cycle and the way that we really look at lining up with our customers' buying journey and the way that they buy.
Yeah, right. So, you know, you think of it as a problem, and it's you got to think of it from the person perspective and how they're going to go through the journey and internalize. Every company has similar but different buying journeys, so we have to really think from their perspective where they're at in that journey too, and try to put ourselves in those shoes so that we can help and enable them with solutions. Rather than just, you know, trying to kind of, what do we say, throw a sample over the fence and see if it sticks.
That's
Right.
never the best approach.
Right.
Rarely works. I think there's an aspect of this too around we have the best employees. And the authentic belonging helps. It's the number one reason people stay at a company,
Yeah.
and we can retain top talent because of our culture
Absolutely.
And attract.
and attract top talent. People
Yeah.
come to us because of our culture.
It's absolutely the truth.
And right now, finding human beings to work is very hard. So it's hugely important, and it translates to
Yeah.
our customers of you're getting the best of the best talent for your problem.
Right, right. And I think it's interesting, and we should bring him into this conversation, but we recently brought Bernd
Yes,
Kohler in,
yes.
and he talked
should be on
about-
this next, right?
He needs to be,
He will
yeah,
be.
because, but I think that, you know, it took some real time to find an innovator, to find someone with his profile in the market and bring them in. And when I first met him, the thing that he said was, not only that he was so impressed by the culture and the people that he met, but that we had the reputation
Yes.
for being great collaborators and having this kind of culture and bringing that to our customers. And so I think that you've brought this idea of authentic belonging as a value to the table, and the benefit comes to us internally and it goes externally. And I think that over time we'll see it even have a bigger reach.
It's everything. I mean, I always say it feels like my calling, but it's the unity around the triangle is where the power is, and that it solves everything.
Yeah. And back to, some people would say, finally hiring Burned, but we're also protective of it.
Yeah.
So we
yeah.
sometimes take our time
Yes.
to find the right people. And you know what? That's okay.
Right.
But what I love about that, it's worth the wait. And you have other people that'll step in and say, we're going to find the right person. Until then, people are wearing multiple hats or juggling. And
Such as
that's
you.
Because, but it's
Speaking from
important.
experience.
It's important that we try to make the best choice we
And
can.
I think on that note, that's a brilliant note. That when we we all make wrong hires from time to time. It's nobody's 100%. And when we see that, and we see that a person just doesn't fit our culture or is hurting our culture,
Right.
because that happens too, that we make decisions quickly.
Another value, I think, internally and externally, that this brings is that it enables everyone to share their thoughts and ideas, and everyone feels heard. And to be an innovator and to be a thought leader in our space, we need everyone to kind of step up and share. And there's no such thing as a stupid idea, right? We want
Right.
that heard. And then that translates to the value we bring to our customers in terms of solutions and ideating forward looking for the future.
Yeah.
Sometimes the craziest simple idea is the one.
That's
I
right.
love that.
That's right.
Appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
And thank you for making culture such an important part of every day at Long.
Yes.
She's going to make me cry.